hello and welcome to Meet the Host. Now today, no matter where you live in the country, pretty much virtually anywhere, you have probably heard on TV, radio, this tagline.
Even if you're 50, 75, 100 miles away, you come and see us.
That's right. Yo, this is my good friend. This is Dan Walters. Thanks for doing this, my friend.
Always a pleasure.
Now, Dan has been like a TV pitchman for automotive marketing for years, and we're going to get to that in just a bit. But I am so intrigued when I met you about where you started, like what your first passion was, your first career. I would have never guessed. Like you were like a bull rider.
Rodeo guy, yeah.
Rodeo guy, yeah.
That was my whole plan, after I got out of high school. I had a cup of coffee at college and said, okay, all right, that's not for me. So I kept going. I had a couple of buddies from Oklahoma who were, they were on the rodeo circuit. So they said, come and try this. And for the next 4 or 5 years, I just had the best time of my life. Broke a lot of bones.
God, I imagine.
Didn't make a lot of money, but we had a whole lot of fun.
Now, because you grew up with horses, though, too, right? So
right,
that was kind of like
horses
a natural transition for you?
Yeah. Oh, that was what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I said, okay, I'm going to ride till I'm about 30, and then hopefully my face is still okay. And then I'm going to be a stock contractor. That's the guy that supplies rough stock to rodeos, the bulls, the bucking horses, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's what I was going to do. I was going to make enough money, to go back to Texas and get a couple hundred acres, and I was going to raise bulls. But it doesn't always work out like you. I tell my kids all the time, doesn't always work out like you planned. So they don't believe me.
Right, right. But I think we all kind of have to figure that out for ourselves. My parents did the same thing. Like, oh, Darren, and I'm like, I did it anyway. Oh, guess what? They were right.
Right. And of course, I was about 25, 26 at that time, so I had it all figured out.
Of course.
I knew everything there was to know.
Yes.
I was like, I got this.
Yeah. But you were successful, though, for a while until you, like you said, you started breaking all your bones.
Every year it seemed like, because I was on in baseball, it would be the double-A team, or something like we have here in Nashville.
Right, right.
Of course, they're 3A. But anyway, I was on the minor circuit, the PCA circuit. Always wanted to get up to the big show. And, halfway through the summer, I would break an arm, break a leg, knock a shoulder out, broke my back one time. So, I get enough points, and all of a sudden, okay, start next year, and start next year. So anyway, it never worked out for me, but I sure enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think back on it, I'm going, I'm a million miles from home, and I've got $37 in my pocket,
right?
And somehow or other I got to get to Cheyenne, Wyoming, for Frontier Days Rodeo, and I don't know how I'm going to get there. And thinking back on it, I'm like, why was that so much fun?
Right.
Because now it's terrifying.
Yes, exactly. I was just going to say, back when we were in our 20s, everything you listed, then you're like, but life is good.
Yeah.
I got this. I got it. No problem. So now from there you transferred over to, you transitioned rather into New York?
Mm-hmm.
You moved to New York?
Like I told you the other day, you could pull a muscle going from Grand Junction, Colorado on the rodeo to New York City driving a cab. So but it just so happened I had a real severe injury. I wasn't going to be able to ride for about a year, and so some buddies of mine from Houston, Texas, said, we got an apartment in Greenwich Village. We could use another roommate, so, come up here. And I'm like, New York City? I don't know about that. They said, it'll be fine. And, when you're in your mid-20s, you're bulletproof. You can do anything. So I said, sure, I'll come up and we'll give it a try. So, I drove a cab. Waited tables. When I finally healed up, I worked at Studio 54. You probably heard of Studio 54.
Now that's intriguing. That's
worked as a bouncer.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so you're a big guy to begin with, but with that voice alone, it's got to be intimidating.
It meant nothing.
Oh, really?
No. I pulled people off Rod Stewart 2 or 3 times. Mick Jagger, those guys would come in, and the little guys, they're like 5'6" or something and weigh 130 pounds. And so they would, somewhere during the night, they'd start, talking to some big guy, and me and 3 or 4 other fellows would have to stop. And you say, okay, let's walk you out over here.
Right. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I never got to work the front door, with the velvet rope.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to do that, but they kept me by the back bar.
Yeah.
But driving a cab, after I was there for 6 or 8 months, I started driving a cab and waited tables at a place way up on the north part of Manhattan called Nodaldini's. So that was fun. Kid from Texas, and it was a seafood restaurant. So these older people would come in and go, well, older to me at the time.
Right.
And they go, how's
You're probably our age, which we thought was like an Asian.
They would say, how's the bluefish today? And I go, it's good and blue. I don't know. So all I knew about fish before I got there was Mrs. Paul's.
Right. right.
From Texas. But yeah, it didn't take very long at all. I was talking about halibut and how we were going to saute this fish and bouillabaisse and all that kind of stuff.
So then from there, you started DJing, right? You started doing late night DJing.
How much time have you got? I love the fact that if anybody's seen WKRP in Cincinnati, everybody's seen that deal. I swear to God, the place that I caught on, WKTU in New York City, I think at that time they had 40 stations that they would rank every quarter as to popularity. We were always at the end. I mean, we were 38, 39, 40. It was a soft rock station, the Carpenters, Lionel Richie, Bee Gees, stuff like that. And we had 37 listeners or something. I'm being facetious, but something like that.
Okay, maybe 39.
39. And we were WKRP in Cincinnati. I mean, it was a bunch of lovable losers, and none of us could have gotten jobs anywhere else except that station. And so just because I had a voice that they kind of liked, and they said, okay, well, we need somebody to work late night, so you got the deal. And I'd been there 6 or 8 months, and some people from the San Juan Corporation came in, bought the station, and so we all said, okay, so what happens now? Are we all fired? Are we good? You're going to change the format? And they said, oh, yeah, you're all good, because we're not going to let you we're not going to let you say anything ever. So you're all good. And then it was like, we're going to go disco. And we said, but that's like what they play downtown in the clubs.
Right.
But be like, what do they call it now? Electronic music, house music. Yeah. That's what we're going to play on the radio. And we said, okay. So we were good. You got 9-minute songs, so you can go have a sandwich, come back. And they didn't want you to say anything anyway. So we start this disco format, WKTU. The first book after that, we were number 3 in the market, number 3 in New York City.
Yeah.
And we're all
didn't mean to interrupt you, but for folks who don't know, books are like ratings.
Yes, ratings book. They do it in the big markets. They'll do it 4 times a year. Okay. Smaller markets, a couple times a year. But anyway, so we're number 3 in the New York City market, and we're still the same group of not very talented people, and we're going, God Almighty, we're number 3 in the New York City market. And then the next ratings book after that, we were number 1. WABC had been number 1 in the market forever. And all of a sudden, we're number 1 in New York City. And by the number of listeners that we had, we were number 1 in the country.
Wow.
And we're all still walking around just going, I swear I thought turkeys could fly.
Yeah.
If you WKRP and Cincinnati fans will get that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a lot, just a tremendous time to be in New York City, and you know, I sit in my little apartment and I go, God, you know, it wasn't that long ago. I was putting on my chaps and spurs, and I was getting ready to try and make 8 seconds on Mississippi Hippie, and now all of a sudden, now I'm working for a radio station in New York City that's number 1 in the country.
Wow.
So it's funny how things change.
Yeah. Now, when you hit those rating numbers, so did they like start letting you guys talk more, or did you start getting airtime? Or?
No, they paid us more, and that was nice. But no, the whole format really with disco, you're too young to remember this, but the whole format was that they take. I mean, those songs were like 8, 9, 10 minutes long. Ohio Players, Kool and the Gang, Donna Summer, all that, and so it was like, shut up, don't say anything, don't say anything. We just want you to play the songs, at the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour, just, do the call letters.
Sure.
Tell people what the weather's going to be and shut up and just play. I said, I could do that.
Yeah.
That's my specialty.
There you go.
Shut up.
Yeah.
And that's when we spun records.
Yeah.
Those were like real records.
Now, those would have been like just 45 singles, right? Or did you like have
normally there was the albums.
The full
big,
album.
Big albums, yeah.
Okay.
But we had racks and racks and racks of those.
Wow.
And then the little computer would say, okay, go to B47 and, you pull out Kool and the Gang, Celebration, put it on, and let it fly.
Yeah. So now you progressed through radio for a while, because then you started like buying up stations, right?
Well, yeah, a couple of steps in there, but yeah, I had a couple of investors that I'd moved back to Texas by then. I was working for an ad agency.
Okay.
And quick little deal. I was in radio. I'm working on air. Our program director, who by that time was making pretty good money.
Sure.
And he said, we were leaving at the same time one afternoon. He said, "Want me to drop you back at your apartment?" And I said, "Yeah, Ben, that'd be great if you don't mind. Save me taking the bus or the subway." Mm-hmm. And so we went down to get in his Ford Taurus or something. I don't know, Ford something. And I said, "Who are all those cars? There's a BMW and a Mercedes-Benz and a Jaguar and all these high-dollar cars."
Sure.
I grew up on a farm, so high-dollar cars they caught my eye.
Yeah.
And I said, "Who drives those cars?" He said, "Those old salespeople that we don't like. Just we don't care about them at all. They drive those cars."
Ah.
I'm looking at his 10-year-old Taurus. I'm looking at those cars.
Right.
The next day, I'm in there knocking on the boss's door saying, "Could I get into sales?"
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do this or not,
Yeah.
but I'd like to at least give it a try. So anyway, I did sales for a little bit, and just luck, just happenstance. A couple of guys that had some money said, "We'd like to, we think it's maybe a good time to buy up some small stations that in medium-sized markets where we could turn them around, maybe
Sure.
change the format,
Okay.
change out the people, change the mentality, and get them to where they're losing money now. We buy it for not much. We turn it like flipping houses.
Sure.
And then we turn it around where they're making money, and we sell them for a profit." So we did that for a little while, and it worked out really well.
Wow. Now I've known you for a while, but
Mm-hmm.
this is what I love to do about interviews, even with people I know, is now all the pieces are coming together for me, how
Right.
you progressed to where you're
Right.
at today.
Well,
For
think
sure.
about this. When another piece of serendipity
Okay.
hit me later on, and a car dealer said, "I'd like you to do my car commercials," which led me to a career that I'm still in.
Sure.
The only reason, because I'm not the best looking guy and I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but the only reason that he wanted me to do his commercials is because I could do 30 seconds or 29 seconds without a script. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I could do that is because I've been in radio for a while. And in radio, they teach you, that's just part of the job, is they'll say, your producer buzzes you and says, "I've got Hotel California queued up. It's 36 second intro," and it is. And so I want you to do this, do the weather, do the something, talk about it,
Sure.
and post to that 36 seconds. So they want you to talk nice and even, and you're not rushed, but you're not dragging your feet, and you're just wrapping it up, and you say, "Oh yeah, and by the way, we got the Eagles in Hotel California," and then the vocal starts. So I learned after years and years of doing that, you need 15 seconds, 18 seconds, 22, 37.
Yeah.
I'm your guy.
There you go. Yeah.
And then, this was in Tyler, Texas.
Okay.
And a guy, and I was working there for a radio station, and a local car dealer said, "We would like for you to do these commercials, but the whole thing about, I don't know what I want you to say. I want to just tell you as we go."
Okay.
So here's a Toyota Camry. Mm-hmm. It's Sunday night. We're closed. It's $199 a month. Go. And we had tried to, because I was the idea guy.
Yeah.
We had tried to find other people, regular spokespeople.
Yeah.
That but they were like, well, where's the teleprompter? Where are my cue cards? Where
Right.
are my scripts in advance? And this guy just wanted somebody who could wing it. And we couldn't find anybody who could wing it, because the only way you can do that is if you've been in my opinion, if you've been in radio. And
Sure.
Somebody says, I need this amount of time. You go, okay, I
Yeah.
can do that for you.
Yeah.
So I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
But the only reason I got that job, which led to what I've done for 25 years, is because of my background in radio.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, because it comes easy to me. I don't understand why everybody can't just go. If they say it's Tuesday night, here's a Toyota Corolla. It's Tuesday night. It's $149 a month. Go and give me at 30. It's too long. At 27 and a half, it's too short. I need it 28, 29. Go.
Right.
And I'm an idiot savant, I guess. I don't know. It just,
but
it seems to work.
lucky though for you, like the whole country can't do that, because over the years now.
I'd be working at McDonald's saying, in a very mellow voice, I'd be saying, could I get fries with that for you, sir?
Right,
Would you
right.
like to supersize that?
Right. I don't know though. In that voice, man, you have a line going around the building. People in the drive-thru, ladies would be like, I don't care what number, just give me something. I want to hear that. But no, so because you're so good at that, it's kind of like thrust you into. You're in something like 42 of the 50 states you've had TV ads in, and with like the numbers, something crazy like over 140,000 TV commercials you've produced and been in, and.
Yeah, I had a couple of girls recently that worked for me that said, how many commercials have you done? Just TV commercials. And I said, man, I don't know. Thousands and thousands, I guess. And they said, they went back, and did all, it was like a fun little project for them over a couple of weeks. And they went back and they said, okay, so all these different accounts, and you started when, and I actually started, one of my first clients was here in Nashville.
Oh, I remember. I've lived here 20 years.
Rivergate Toyota.
And that's where I first, that's where I first recognized you. And then later on, as small town America can be, big small town, before you moved here in Nashville, we had met and became friends. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're the Rivergate Toyota guy.
The auto giant.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, they added it up and they said, I think you've done over 100,000 commercials. And I said, I don't even think that's possible. But then when they said, well, look, here's how we figured it out. And especially back in the day when I was younger and more energetic, I would do, it was nothing to do 50 or 60 or 70 commercials in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's a guy named Jimmy Bryant in Orlando, Florida, that hired me to do for a while his Honda store and his Toyota store. And we would do, seriously, we would set up the cameras and we would do 25 or 30 Toyota commercials, tear everything down, drive across town to Honda, set everything up, do 25 or 30 commercials there.
Wow.
I'd take the film crew, we'd go get a little bite to eat, come back to Honda, do another 25 to 35 commercials, and then go back to Toyota like at 11 o'clock
That's the schedule. That is the schedule.
At 11 o'clock at night and set up at 11. And boy, by that time, I'll tell you, if I didn't mispronounce the client's name, we kept it.
Exactly.
But it would be literally over 100 commercials every other Monday.
Wow.
He wanted me there every other Monday. And one time I said, Jimmy, even when you spend a lot of money on television, you run a lot of commercials, granted, but the average viewer is only going to see 15, 18 a week.
Right.
Even with all the money you're spending, because the reach and frequency curve goes up and then flattens out. So I said, okay, call it 20. We're cutting 125 commercials every other Monday, and the average viewer, if they watch a lot of television, they might see 15 or 20 of them. I said, don't you think we ought to cut this down? He said, nah, just go knock yourself out.
There you go. And you're like, all right, well, you're paying the bills.
But the girls came back and said, with all those and that you used to go, they said, yeah, it's a little over 140,000 TV commercials, and then I don't know, probably 50, 60,000 radio commercials. So
that's like unprecedented.
yeah, I don't know. Does Guinness keep up with that?
I mean, we should make a phone call after this interview because that's just astounding. So then all of that success, you then formed like your own media company. So because like now you're not only, you still are the face of the brand, a lot of these brands, but you also are writing, you're buying. And what I mean by buying is like you're buying the market, you're placing the ads, buying the airtime, all of that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, left to the average car dealer, and I love car dealers, but the average, it's like me and food. You know, if I had a restaurant, you know what? It would be all of Dan Walters' favorite foods.
right.
Starting with fried chicken, and all that stuff, anything fried, it would be at that restaurant, because I would think, well, if I like it, then everybody's got to like it, right?
Right.
And that's that's the service that we provide, among other things, to car dealers primarily, is that I go, Mr. Car Dealer, you know, if you're selling Hondas, which is going to be about 70% female primary decision makers, then Monday Night Football may or may not
be the best
idea, you know, and you know, you may watch Fox News, but the people that are buying your cars, maybe not, maybe not, and so anyway, that's where we come in, and we say, let's look at what you're selling, let's look at the market, let's see who you really want to get through the door, or go to your website, and then let's pick out TV programs that they're watching, not what you're watching.
Yeah, and a lot of people may not realize there's a lot of strategic planning into placing ads.
Right.
For sure, because exactly everything you're saying now, definitely like during the evening news, like a lot of local times you buy that, but you're absolutely right, because the customer you're targeting for XYZ brand, not necessarily going to be watching, like you said, maybe Monday Night Football or something like that.
And you know, the big thing that's changed so much in the last 4 or 5 years is everybody DVR stuff.
Yep.
So where we used to key in,
one of those.
and then you do this, like on weekends, you sit down and you'll blow through 5 or 6 or 7 programs that you like, but you didn't watch them during the week. And unfortunately, you know, I wish I could take this out. They blow through the commercials. You know, you hit a commercial break, and then back to the show. So now we've adjusted our buying philosophy that let's buy only shows that people don't necessarily tape and watch later. So Prime, while it's a fantastic vehicle for advertising, and the big national companies, the Ford, Chevys, Toyotas, Hondas, they buy Prime, but we don't for our local guys, because so often people tape that, come in on weekends, and then watch the whole thing and blow through it. So 6 to 7 in the morning, which is normally local news, we buy that. Good Morning America, Today Show, because typically mom is getting, you know, mom wants to know what's the weather going to be like today. It's going to be hot, it's going to be cold, it's going to rain. Got to know how to dress the kids, and you know, so everybody watches that, and nobody tapes it because it's going to be obsolete by 10 o'clock tonight.
That's such a good point, because it's one of those, I'm going to say it's one of those subliminal things. I do that. I absolutely do that. I'll turn the TV on in the living room, and I'm just kind of walking around, and
you're not staring at it. You're just kind of walking around listening, but you get the commercials. It's not one of those where, it's commercials, I'm going to zip through it.
And you don't necessarily, I don't think, have to be watching it, because it's kind of like a visual, let's just say it's like a visual radio ad. Because you're not watching it, but you're hearing, you know, and then if you are in the market for shopping for a car, even though you're getting ready doing your thing, you hear that commercial, then it's going to turn you around like, oh, wow, that is a great deal on that car that I just looked at last week. Maybe I need to go back and check that out.
We call that top of mind awareness. That's why I gravitated toward, and why I've always been a big fan of traditional media, as opposed to newspaper. Everybody's got to have a digital presence now, and I'm big on that. But you've got to push people to that funnel. And so with radio and television, that's the two things that it's like Chinese water torture, like over and over and over again. Because if you're not interested in the car today, not today, there's no way, no how, you've got other bills, other things you want to do, so you're not interested. I could do a commercial and say, Darren, we've got Ford's half price. or they're almost free, or whatever crazy thing. You'd go, okay, well that's pretty cool. When I get ready to buy, I hope they have that same kind of deal.
Right.
But if you're not ready, if you're not in the market, if you're not in that 2-3% in that buying cycle, then whatever I say, it's not going to make you throw down everything, run to the dealership.
Right.
But you did hear the name of the dealership.
Right.
And if we do that over and over and over and over again, then in a month, in 6 months, next year at this time, and they say, man, the transmission in your car is awful and it's going to take a whole lot of money to fix it, and you go, I think I'm just ready for a new car. Yeah. Hopefully that Chinese water torture, that top of mind awareness, makes you say, hey, that deal that Dan Walters does a commercial for, that you come and see us guy.
Yeah. Now, also visually, though, I will say, if by chance you've never seen one of his commercials, there are only maybe this part of the country who hasn't seen them.
Right.
You actually have a totally different
group of people in Alaska that live out on that island.
Right. You have a different spin that makes your commercials unique because you do them. Dare I say, you make it look like it's a live commercial, especially during the news sequence. So how do you do that? Well,
actually, I got to say, I wish I could tell you that was my brilliant idea, but like most things, I just steal the good ones. but that guy I was telling you, way back when, he showed me some commercials of mostly guys in California from back in the 60s. When they really did live commercials. Jim West and Ralph Williams and some of those guys, Cal Worthington.
Yeah, that's a name I do know.
Cal Worthington. Yeah. Here, me and my dog Spot. Yes. He would have a leopard with him, Here's me and my dog Spotty.
And I've never lived in California, but
but everybody's seen those commercials.
Yes.
So he said, I want that. And I said, well, we can't do that because nobody's going to let us have live commercials anymore, and I certainly am not coming down here at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
But I said, but we can make some commercials that look just like that. So we did. We started the concept. I tell people all the time when they go, man, I love those commercials. They're funny. They're whatever, and they catch my eye. And I say, hey, I'm a one-trick pony, but it's a pretty good trick.
Yeah.
And that's so true because we started off, and I still do this, daytime commercials that run during the day. And then when it gets to be nighttime, and whether it's East Coast, West Coast, whatever, then we come commercials that run only at night. Yeah. But we wait until it's night. We set up the big lights. We have the flashers going on the front of the cars. And I'm saying in the commercials, hey, folks, hope you're having a great night. We're down here. We're closed right now. But, boy, we're getting ready for a big sale tomorrow, Thursday or something. So it makes it look like live commercials.
Right. Yeah. And that goes back to what you were saying earlier about you would cut a lot of different takes on it to make it look like it's live. So if you're talking about the sale tomorrow and then like 2 days from now, you might have the same kind of a spot, but like, hey, you come back over for the weekend, we're going to be here having all new, brand new sale, closeouts, things like that.
Well, people actually, if I go, hey, it's Thursday, we got the Thursday night, we've got sales going to end on Saturday, so we got 2 days left in this big sale, folks. I'll kind of make up a number. Let's just keep that between us. I'll make up a number. We got to sell 27 more cars and trucks to make our goal by Saturday. And then I'll come back on Friday night and go, I'm going to tell you, there is 1 day left in this sale. I mean, last chance. It's the final hours tomorrow. Going to be here 12 big hours, folks, but we got to sell 18 more cars and trucks or I don't know. Hellfire and brimstone.
Right.
So,
right.
There's never that. But people will come to the dealership and go, okay, I want to buy a car. I saw that spot on TV. So how close are you guys to making it go? How many cars have you got left? And the smart dealers that I work with, they'll actually have like a big board or a whiteboard, huge on the showroom floor. We're 18, 17, 16,
nice.
To synergy, so to tie into those commercials.
Sure.
But people actually come in. Well, I've had people on a Sunday night. I had a dealer in Waco, Texas one time said, you got to stop doing those spots on Sunday night. And I said, okay, why? And because the spot would be, hey, it's Sunday night, we're closed right now, but I'm down here with the guys, man. We are marking these cars down left and right and getting ready to for this big sale on Monday. And people would like get in their car, drive. Well, I just saw Dan Walters on TV. It's so during the 10 o'clock news, and they'd show up at 10:30, 10:45, and nobody's there. The dealership's locked up. So then they're calling the dealership the next day saying, hey, what the heck? I swear I just saw him on TV. He couldn't have been gone that long. And they go, yeah, well, we record those in advance.
Right.
In the 10 o'clock news in Central and most parts of the country, the late news is 10 p.m.
Right.
And if you've ever watched that much, probably 7 out of 10 commercials are car dealers. Mm-hmm. But they all look the same.
Right.
And so years ago, I started saying, let's make ours cut through the clutter. Let's make ours stand out a little bit. And so if everybody else is running that same spot that they started with back on the 5th, and it's the almost the end of the month, and they're still running the same spot, okay, that's not going to have a lot of impact.
Yeah.
But if there's a guy standing out there going, it's Thursday night, and we've got 27 cars and trucks to go, and we're counting them down, and it's almost the end of the month. That stands out. That cuts through, and it's nighttime. I mean, it's 10 p.m. news. You can see the lights. Hopefully, sometimes I can find a camera angle where we can actually see the street behind it. There are cars coming by with the you can see the headlights. You can see the flashers on the cars. You can tell it's nighttime.
Yeah.
So it just makes it cut through the clutter.
Yeah. Now, in full disclosure, so if you happen to have gone to my YouTube page and you see me doing commercials like he's explaining, I've actually done some commercials for this guy in the past. So that's really, and I remember people would say, God, that's really unique. That's like an attention grabber, for sure.
Right.
So now, by the way, we're sitting in your house. This is your home studio, and you have some amazing microphones behind us.
Big ego.
Yeah. But for a big voice, you got to have some really amazing mics. Now, for what people may not understand or even realize, I didn't either, so I started getting more into the business, is different mics are for different things or different effects or different tones, if you will.
Right.
So, like, what is behind us? Which one is your go-to that you use on a normal basis, like if you were doing like a voiceover?
Mm-hmm. My voice has a lot of lows and a lot of mids in it.
Yeah, it's very rich.
Thank you. And sometimes I struggle to get it bright enough. Although you can, with the software that we used to record now and mic processors and everything, you can change that. But the green mic behind us, that's by the Blue company. It's called a Blue Kiwi. And for voiceover stuff, it's not really a singer's microphone. Like that might not be something that you would choose. Sure. But for voiceover work, that's phenomenal. That big fat one hanging right behind us, that's an Oceanus by the Loughton company. And that is big, rich, beautiful highs. That's a singer's microphone. That's everybody who comes in likes that one. And then we were, there are others. My daughter loves that Shure microphone, the silver one over there. That's her go-to mic. She loves that one. So, I've got, as you could see, I've got microphones scattered throughout, and some of them are dynamic microphones, which means you can be as loud as you want to in them. Some of them are condenser microphones, like some of those that you have to be a little bit more careful with them. But they all, for just to have a lot of options for different voices. But every studio that you go into, the guy that runs that studio wants to have lots and lots of microphones, so that from guys with Oak Ridge Boys, right, to Garth Brooks that has a lot of highs in his voice, and you just want a lot of different options.
For sure, especially I would imagine on days like today, as we are shooting in Nashville. Both of us have allergies, so we thank you for bearing with us. So if you happen to hear us, keep
going.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's going on. Allergies love us.
Yeah, that's right.
So I want to do a quick what I call Darren's Fast Five.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you.
You should have told me about this ahead of time. So
no, these are really easy, and it's not really fast. It's just kind of a this or that thing.
Yeah.
So dogs or cats? Well, you're allergic to both, aren't
Yeah,
you?
I'm allergic to both.
Yeah, and I just actually learned that right before the taping, so I guess that would be a neither, a goldfish then maybe.
Yeah. No, I'm good with dogs. On a theoretical side, I like dogs.
Cool, very good. Are you a salad or a pizza guy?
Oh my gosh, you know me. If it's green, get it away from me. That is way too healthy. Green jelly beans, that's okay. But,
Okay.
Yeah, but no. Hey, I worked really hard to get. Now I'm as big as some of the bulls I used to ride.
Oh my gosh, I highly doubt that, but you could probably still go back and be that bouncer and really scare people off though.
If I didn't have to do too much.
Right.
If I could just intimidate people, that might be
Well,
okay.
your voice alone and your stature, I don't think you would have much moving around. Just like you, go.
Yeah, if it was like Rod Stewart, I could pick him up by the collar.
Yeah, isn't that so? We're gonna get back to this in a second, but isn't that so true? Like some of the movies I've acted in, some of your biggest stars are really the shortest stature people. And talking about how microphones can really make or break a voice, camera angles and everything really can enhance an actor's appearance as well as their performance.
Right.
All right, back to the good stuff. So are you...
But if I see Dolly Parton, I'm definitely going over to say,
oh my gosh.
Could I please have an autograph?
Yeah, so can I just tell you, obviously we're not going to tell everybody where you live, but you don't live that far from her.
Really?
Did you know that?
No.
All right, we'll talk about that after the interview.
Okay.
But no, by the way, very case in point, that is a lady who does go out and just do her thing.
We call that the Dolly Parton microphone.
Okay, and why is that?
I don't know if she still uses it, but
Okay.
that's a Shure SM58.
Okay.
It's a dynamic microphone, meaning a stage microphone. You could drive nails with it. It's just fine.
Okay.
But for a long time, that's all she would use on stage. That she just likes that mic because she's got a really high register.
Yeah.
This mic for on stage, it's got a lot of low. Well, in fact, anytime you see a picture of somebody on stage singing into a microphone, nine times out of 10 it's that.
Yeah.
Because they're built like an iron skillet, but it's got a lot of mids and a lot of dynamic lows. And I don't know, I guess that's why she likes it. But I said, $100 mic, Dolly Parton, a gazillion dollars. And she doesn't want to sing unless it's a Shure SM58.
Now, granted, she might bedazzle that mic up a little bit,
Yeah.
make it look like it's a $1,000 microphone.
Put some actual diamonds on it.
Exactly.
But it's a little, you go to
Wow,
Radio
I love
Shack
that.
or Guitar Center, and it's like, get them on sale for $79.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's I learned something. I didn't know that about her.
There
That's
you go.
great. Yeah.
What do you like on stage? This is Dan's fast
Hey,
five.
no, that's fine. Honestly, everything I've ever used on stage have been Shures.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Whether it's corded or wireless,
Yeah.
it's always been a Shure.
Well, really. They're probably number one with people on stage.
Yeah.
Because most of them are, like I said, they're built like an iron skillet. If you were
Especially
doing
for,
that
probably
thing,
for live performance.
yeah, exactly,
Great, right?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes, especially with rock and roll people, you'll have the mic up on top of the mic stand, and I don't know, you're jumping around and it falls over. Seriously, you can take this and drive nails with it, and then probably replace the ball, but it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt them. They can fall over all day, all night long, and no problem.
I'm having repressed memories pop up because I put a few dents in this crown before my day. Trying to be like a rock star in my old days.
$7.
Really?
I keep.
Oh, I don't feel so bad now.
No, I keep it screws right off. You put another $7.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And the microphone sounds exactly the same.
Wow.
So this guy, if you sneeze on it, you might have to replace the element.
Yeah, that's an amazing mic. Now for recording though, in studio, for records, you want it to be like the grand poobah, whatever. But for live performancing, it's a whole nother ballgame.
It's a condenser mic, very fragile, has a fantastic sound, but very, very fragile. I mean, seriously, some of those, what we call ribbon mics, I don't have any here, but ribbon mics, you could sneeze and the microphone is ruined.
Wow.
You have to be so careful with it. But this one, you can Keep it on the car, spin it around.
That's how I did it.
See?
I was trying to be some rock star that I wasn't back in the day. And oh yeah, one of those, whoa.
Look out, first row. First row.
Totally.
Sorry, lady.
For sure.
Yep.
Okay, so are you a type of guy that would read a book or go see the movie?
Oh, I hate going to movies, and
Wow,
I'm a prolific reader.
Okay.
Yeah. Then my wife a few years ago said, stop reading all those books. We don't have places for them, so do them on your iPad. And I said, that is stupid. No. And so she got me to read a book on my iPad, so now I'm hooked, and I don't buy books anymore. But I read books all the time.
Oh,
all
wow.
the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I hate going to a movie because it's never as good as the book. My opinion.
That's true. Most of the time, that's true. I say most of the time because a lot of the movies I haven't read the book on. So, disclaimer.
Yeah.
Are you a wine or whiskey guy?
I don't really drink.
Coke or Pepsi then?
Well, I'll drink a Coke every now and then. And
You're a sweet tea guy, though. I know that.
Love tea, yeah, and I'll drink a beer every once in a while. I'll drink a glass of wine every great once in a while. But
now, what kind of beer do you like? I'm always intrigued by that. Are you like a stout?
Hey,
hoppy?
I'm trying to lose weight. Okay, you don't have to on camera say stout.
Well, Dan, man, thank you for allowing us into your studio and your home, and
What a nice
this has been
time.
great.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, and always good to see you.
You too.
Mm-hmm.
You too. So, guys, you are watching Meet the Host. Dan Walters was our guest. Make sure you check out everywhere you can find us. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. You can actually listen to the podcast audio version of this on iTunes. And what am I missing? Well, we're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're everywhere. So check us out. I'm Darren Otto. And remember, one voice can make a difference. So dare to dream. We'll see you next time.